Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going into a situation that's really captured a lot of attention, the unfolding legal challenges facing Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah, a figure who, for decades was just synonymous with hip hop, with business success.
Exactly. And we've got an excerpt here that really gets into the core allegations, right? And the legal side of things now moving around him.
That's right. It lays out quite a bit.
So our goal with this deep dive really is to get past the headlines. We want to understand, what are the main accusations? What's the key evidence being presented?
And the bigger picture, too, what are the wider implications here? Not just for Combs, obviously, but maybe for the whole industry he was such a big part of.
Right, because to really get the weight of this, you have to think about the backdrop. I mean, for so long, Combs was this huge power broker.
A massive cultural force in music, yeah. And now he's facing federal charges. And these are, they're heavy. Sex trafficking, racketeering, deception.
It's a really dramatic shift, isn't it? A complete turnaround in the public story.
It really is. And it feels like, things really started picking up steam, publicly at least, when Cassie Ventura came forward.
Yeah, her accusations, they seem like a real turning point. Like they open the door for much closer scrutiny of Combs and, well, his past actions.
Definitely. Cassie Ventura's account is, it's really central here. She talks about a relationship with Combs, his girlfriend, for what, over 10 years?
Over a decade, yeah. And the way she describes that time, it's deeply concerning. She's alleging, control, abuse, coercion, spanning that entire relationship.
And some of the specifics are particularly disturbing. These alleged drug-fueled events, the freak-offs, as they've been called.
Right. And the claim that these were filmed and then supposedly used as leverage against her, that's incredibly chilling.
It speaks volumes about the power dynamic, doesn't it? The potential for manipulation there.
Then there's that other detail, the really specific and frankly unsettling one about her mother, Regina Ventura.
Ah, yes. The testimony alleges that back in 2011, Combs actually demanded she take out a $20,000 home equity loan.
Demanded it, yeah. Supposedly to stop explicit footage of Cassie from getting out. I mean, that's a very concrete and pretty shocking claim.
It is. And the fact that the $20,000 was reportedly paid back later, yeah, well, that doesn't really erase the initial alleged demand, does it?
No, it makes you wonder about the intent, right? What was the point?
Yeah.
Control, creating some kind of debt.
Exactly. It suggests a really manipulative dynamic, even with the money returned. It just highlights the kind of power imbalance we're talking about.
And as we understand it from the source, Cassie wasn't the only one alleging serious issues.
That's right. The material mentions other people too. Assistants, dancers, even friends, people who worked closely with him.
So similar stories coming from different places.
Similar accounts, yeah. This alleged pattern across multiple testimonies, that's a really significant part of the whole picture now.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit to the evidence. There was testimony from a Homeland Security agent, right, about the raid on Combs' Miami place.
Yes, and some striking items were reportedly found there, especially when you consider the nature of the allegations.
What kind of items are we talking about?
Well, the testimony mentioned things like AR-15 parts with the serial numbers defaced, scraped off, basically.
Defaced serial numbers. What else?
Also, bottles of lubricant, baby oil, and even high heels. Finding these things together, given the accusations, it certainly makes you ask questions.
Yeah, it definitely paints a picture, or at least raises serious questions about the environment there.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the legal side now. He's facing trial in federal court. And the potential consequences, they're extremely serious.
Extremely. The source points out, the possibility of life in prison if he's convicted on these federal charges.
Life in prison. Wow. That really shows how seriously the legal system is taking this.
It does. And things like a racketeering charge, that often implies a pattern of connected criminal activity, which is, a big deal, much bigger than isolated incidents.
And Combs himself, throughout all this.
He's consistently denied everything, maintained his innocence right from the start.
Right. His legal team, they've tried to frame these as, domestic matters?
Yeah, essentially arguing they aren't these big federal criminal conspiracies, trying to downplay the scope, it seems.
But clearly, the authorities, the prosecutors, they see it very differently. And it's hard not to see this as a massive fall from grace, like our source says.
Especially for someone who was just so dominant in the music industry for such a long time. It's a huge shift.
Which brings us to the bigger picture, I suppose. This case really forces us to think about accountability, doesn't it? Particularly in industries like entertainment.
Yeah, where power can get so concentrated. And, well, potentially abused. It raises tough questions.
Absolutely. Like, what's the responsibility of the music world, or maybe culture more broadly, when figures with that much influence face these kinds of serious allegations?
What should the consequences be? How do you handle situations where people are accused of causing real serious harm?
It's possible this case could be a catalyst, maybe, for a wider look at things within the industry.
Could be. It might open up a bigger conversation, you know, not just about one person, but about the systems, the norms that might have allowed alleged behavior like this to go on.
Okay, so just to kind of pull together the main takeaways from our deep dive today, we've looked at the really serious accusations against Sean Combs.
Yeah, the disturbing details coming out in testimonies, the high-stakes legal fight that's happening right now.
And the huge questions this whole thing raises for the music industry about power, about accountability.
Which leads us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to mull over. In this time when we're demanding more accountability everywhere,
Right. How do we balance, or should we balance, the cultural contributions of really influential people against credible allegations of severe harm?
and what does justice actually look like in situations that are this complex, this troubling? Something to think about.